Well, good morning, boys and girls of the internet. How's everybody doing here on the ground with me? Uh, Odd sight. In front of me is my sister's 2010 Jeep Liberty 3.7 two-wheel drive. She's been having some noise in the front. I kept telling her she needed a wheel bearing, and she just kind of, okay. We didn't get a wheel bearing. So it created a new problem, I think unrelated to the wheel bearing. The caliper started locking up. We didn't have play in the bearing. We just had a ton of noise. These bearings are bolt in. These brakes are dragging. They're not too hard to turn right now, but it was just about to start glazing up these rotors and pads. So I got a bearing and a caliper, and that's what we're doing now. And man, I tell you, I really don't like doing mobile stuff because I'm without so many tools. And so for all the mechanics out there that are mobile, more power to you, because this, I guess when you are mobile, you already have everything with you, so it's not as bad. But when you are not used to being mobile, trying to think about what all you're gonna pack up is a nightmare. And then you're so far from the rest of your tools, you know you're forgetting something. You just don't know what until you get there, and then you realize it. So let's get our caliper and everything off and change this. Getting the caliper off, 221 mils. There's one. That one's on the bottom. Not gonna hear anything after doing that, but it's okay. Caliper, it is wedged on there. Just another indication of how tight this thing is clamped onto it. I probably should have tried to pull that guy loose first, but oh yeah, oh yeah, there we go. Now the pads we can scuff up, call them a day. They were new not too long ago. It's also weird kind of shooting this in real time. I don't know how much of this I'll end up editing. So you're just gonna sit here with me and listen to the sounds of the cars going by on the highway. They live on a pretty busy highway. So I don't know if the new wheel bearing came with an ABS or a speed sensor, wheel speed sensor in it. So you want to be real careful with getting these things out, because you will snap them off in there. And it's not fun. My friends back up north will agree with me on that one. You'll never get these things out, especially like on a Chevrolet, like the older Chevy trucks that have them right there on the end of the axle housing, the axle tube. Forget them. You're not getting them out. They just break. This one's being mighty finicky. There it goes. Got it. So let's go ahead and start getting the wheel bearing unbolted. It looks like 19s, maybe even 17s. Is it an 18 on a? It is. It is an 18 for the wheel bearing. And sad day, can't get an impact in there. But I can get a cheater pipe if I've got one. Might not even need a cheater pipe. I can just use a cheater wrench. Like that. Now, where is my sister, you might ask, since I'm sitting here doing all her dirty work? Her and her friend are off gallivanting, going to get their hair did or something, I don't know. So I gave her the Avalanche to drive. Well, see my busted, there we go. See my busted fog light? I'm not happy about that. She didn't do it. It just did it itself. It just decided that it didn't want to be good looking anymore. So I need a set of fog lights for that truck. Probably gonna order a set off Amazon. They're pretty cheap there. Either way, that's it's not important. Back on topic. Yeah, so she's off gallivanting with her friend to get her hair did, but I brought her the Avalanche to drive, and I came by last night to see what was actually wrong with it. I separated our caliper from the ABS wire, by the way. The caliper can sit on the lower control arm now, and it's not pulling the line, so don't freak out. Now, you need to follow your wire all the way up to the connector. It's connected to the, this is your ABS speed sensor wire, whatever. It goes up here, it's clipped in, and these two tabs on the back side of this is the connector. So I'm removing that now. I hope it's not jammed in there and corroded all the snot. There we go. In typical Chrysler fashion, Erico knows about this. They have those stupid red locking clips. Be careful, you'll break it. There we go. And then it comes unplugged, and there it is. This heat shield, dust shield, whatever you would like to call it, this part is going to come off with the bearing. But first we need to hit that with some kind of penetrant to maybe help it come off a little bit easier. Let me go see what I got in the truck. In the truck I found a few things. One of them was a Miller Lite. Thank you. Well, I don't drink Miller. I don't even like Miller. My brother Jesse drinks Miller. I always like Busch. Busch is king, okay? I don't care what you say. The Midwesterner in me knows that Busch is king. Either way, found Croyle. We're gonna use this. This is the best penetrant that money can buy. Fight me. Whatever that was. What was that? Can't see it. And then you need a hammer of some sort, like this. Now this doesn't look like a hammer to the untrained eye. Now it's a hammer. See how, hammer time. Yeah. So we're gonna use that to bash our little hub until it comes shooting out of there. This Jeep is pretty clean, no real rust in it, and it's low miles. I don't expect it to fight me too much. Knock on wood. And a trick you can do is shoot it into the threads, because you know the threads are going through both pieces, and if there's an area that it can seep, it's gonna be those threads. It doesn't take much. This is good stuff. We're gonna put the little straw back on it so we don't lose it. And we're gonna put the cap back on it, just like that. And now it should just fall off. Now we get to whack it. Look at that. Oh yeah, oh yeah. There's a car going by. Wait for the car. I don't know if you heard any of that. Unbox our new one together, shall we? Master Pro, part number 513270. It's a good picture. Look, thumbnail. Wheel bearing. Do I get a thumbnail right here? My arms look good. Look at that. Okay. Wheel bearing. And I figured it would, but I didn't know. It does come with a new ABS wire. Good stuff. That's a good part. This one's probably made in China. I don't know where Master Pro is made. Ah, right there. Made in Thailand. Either way, maybe that's, I don't know. Wheel bearing. And we wiped that down. Let's put a little bit of coil on this mating surface. Now, I didn't think about it, or I would have brought fluid film. Fluid film, it's a film. It's exactly how it sounds. It goes on there, it creates a layer. It's a rust preventative. You can use it during the winter as an undercoating for your vehicle. They sell it in large quantities, so you can put it in a sprayer. It's good stuff. That's what we use on the Dirty Dodge, since she spends a bunch of time in the salt during the winter. And it works out good. This car, not so much. Heat shield, don't forget it right there. Now, your wheel bearing, this wire for the speed sensor has to go through the center hole. Like that. You see that? See how now it's coming through this little slot? And it's going to go back that way. They do that to make it very hard to change without taking the bearing off. So if you have a wheel speed sensor failure, it's kind of like a big middle finger to you. Now, cleaning out the rust inside of that hub is the reason that this, or the knuckle is the reason that this hub assembly just slid right back into place. If you don't do that, especially if the car's got some rust in it, you're going to be beating and pounding, and it's just not worth it. Just save yourself the grief. Take a wire wheel, clean that bad boy up. Putting the bolts back in. You can start these by hand. Get all of them started by hand. We'll go back with our ratchet and tighten them up to the factory torque specs. And normally the best thing for torque specs, if you don't have a torque wrench in my case, is right when your shoulder pops right there, like when you're and you hear that little cartilage in there start cracking. It's usually when it's pretty good and tight. Now we're gonna get these all snugged back up. It was my left shoulder that made the noise this time. How about that? Oh, motorcycle. Oh, it was a Grom. I wish I was riding my bike right now instead of putting wheel bearings in cars, but somebody's got to do it. And somebody is me. Must not have ran this one in very far. There we go. Those are all good and tight. You want some nostalgia? Oh. Feel like a XR250 or XLR250, whatever those are. The Enduro. Rude. Stamper. I think it's the X. Is it? So they've got the XLR 125. I want one of those really bad, but I bought the Trail, and then like a month after I bought the Honda Trail 125, Honda announced that they were releasing the XL 150 back into the U.S. market, and I'm like, God dang it! Why? But I had already bought the Trail, and I love the Trail, don't get me wrong, but I would have waited and bought the XL 150 if I knew that was an option, but it's not really an option. That's a lot of monies, and the XL 150 is cheaper than the Honda Trail. The starting MSRP on that bike is like $2,800 for a brand new Honda motorcycle. Now, the Trail is fuel injected and the XL is carbureted. 25 cc's larger in displacement and set up more like a dirt bike. Gas tank between your legs, whereas the Trail has it beneath the seat in a more scooter style design. And I love it, don't get me wrong, we've rode that thing everywhere. I think I've put 4,000 miles on it this year. But had I known, I would have waited. But I've already made my bed, so I gotta lie in it, all that crap. And what I'll do is, since we're so late in the season now, I mean, we're at the end of August. We're getting ready to pack up and head to Florida. So I'll probably make another video about that. If anybody's in Florida, we go to like the Navarre area every year for vacation. So we'll be in Navarre the end of August through the beginning of September. Maybe we'll see somebody there we know. I don't know. I take the trail with us. Cody takes his Rebel. We bought a Rebel 500 for him, and he rides it everywhere. Got a steel on it, couldn't pass it up. But next year, my plan is to go get like the like probably a used one, but like a CBR 500R or something, or maybe even like the Ninja. I would even take like an older Ninja 250 or a 400, just something. I don't know if that's the style bike I want, but I need to know, and I've never had one. So I want to buy one cheap enough to figure out whether or not that's something that I'm interested in riding. I think I would like a sport bike like that. I don't know. I've never had one. We'll see. We'll see. Anyway, let's our new caliper comes with a bracket. So we've got to separate our caliper from the bracket itself, which looks like 12 millimeter. And if that's the case, all I want to reuse from this is the pads. Anyway, no, it's 13 or a 14. It's been a long day. 13. Here's our old caliper. Stay. Here's our bracket. I'm gonna need somebody to come home eventually to help me bleed them. I know my sister Krabby is not gonna be here anytime soon, but my mother should be home before too long, or Jody, which is like my stepdad, I guess. One of them will be home at some point, because it's well after 5 now, and then they can sit in there and pump it while I bleed it. So I will go get the caliper and let's start swapping. Just like before, here's our caliper in a box. It was manufactured in Mexico. How fun is that? Comes with, of course, the caliper and a bracket. This one's actually like powder coated or something. It's really nice. You have a new banjo bolt. A banjo bolt is a bolt that has a hole through it for fluid to pass through. And then these are copper washers. They use copper because copper is a soft, malleable metal, and it works as a seal. In here, we have all these stupid little clips that Chrysler likes to use to hold their pads in. I'll be damned. Anybody else catch that? Our bleeder is at the bottom. The bleeder has to be at the top, or you're never gonna get the air bled out of this. Sorry son of a... All right, let me call the parts store. I'm gonna have to call the one closest to me because son of a gun. So after some slight disagreements with the gentleman at the local O'Reilly's that I normally don't deal with, I have the correct caliper, part number 18B5045. They're gonna tell me that I have to go back to the original store that I purchased it from to do an exchange there, and I think not, because that is quite far from where I currently am. Yeah, so that's not happening. I needed this now, and there's an O'Reilly's closer to where my mother and sister live, and I called the store back I purchased it from. They're like, no, that's not how this works. Any O'Reilly's, especially one that's not, that far, they're in our district. We can take care of this, So they did, and now we have the correct caliper, which once it is bolted on, the bleeder will be at the top orientation, which is where it should be all along, so that the air bubbles go up and out. If it is below your line that comes in, you're never going to get the air out of it, because air in liquid does not travel down. Just like Jimmy Buffett said, bubbles up. It's just one of those things. So needless to say, we now have the correct caliper. Nothing's wrong. But they did exchange it. I called them, you know, to make sure they had one, told them what happened and that I wanted to exchange it. And they're like, oh, we don't do that. You got to go back to where you bought it. The hell you say? I pardon my French, but no, that's not how this works. You're going to give me what I want. I'm not driving on back there. You're in O'Reilly's. All the O'Reilly's are linked together. That's one thing I do like about O'Reilly Auto Parts over, you know, just like Napa, not Napa, but AutoZone and stuff like that. Their accounts don't like, or Advance. I know Advance does me that way. They don't go across the board. So if you have a problem, and there's like, I could drive down through North or South Carolina, Tennessee, wherever, my commercial account with O'Reilly's will still pull, you know, wherever you are. But Napa doesn't do that. Or Napa, why do I keep saying Napa? Advance won't do that for me. They're wherever you are. That's it. So, and it could be because of a tax thing, you know, between different states. I don't know. Either way, I got what I wanted. With the bleeder screw at the top. Back to what I was saying as before. You got a banjo bolt. Banjo bolts have holes in them for fluid to pass through while still being torqued to spec. Separate your gold washers, leave one on the bolt, have one in your paw. Take the line off, bolt it on as quickly as you can. You're never going to be faster than grease lightning. You're still going to get air in this system, and that's where I'm going to get somebody to come out here and pump it. And I'm going to pump this reservoir empty because it looks nasty, and we're going to top it off. It's in the truck with fresh brake fluid, and then flush the system out the best we can. You're never. I'm not going to get it all because I'm working at home. Not at home, not my home. I'm working at my mom's and my sister's home. But we're going to do what we can with what we've got to get my sister back on the road. In case I didn't mention it before, we leave for Florida in just a few days. Oh, that's it's Jody pulling up. I was like, who in the world? What is that noise? It's Jody pulling up in his truck. So anyway, let's get ready to swap this out. I'm going to talk to him first. Caliper's on. The new line is on. It is currently dripping. Let's tighten that down and fix that drip. The old one was a 15. The new one looks like a 10 or a 12. 12. No. It was standard. I should have known it'd have been standard. Let's see. So when they switch over to standard, that'll make it a 7/16. Go back to 3/8 drive. Yeah. She's on there. It'll stop dripping now. Now that Jody's home, he's going to change out of his good clothes, put on some old clothes, and he's going to come out here and pump the brakes while we bleed this system. And that's going to be the last piece of this puzzle. And I bet I don't have a 7/16 and a wrench with me because I'm limited on tools. And it is. So we're going to have to bleed it with a ratchet. I don't like doing that because you can't see the fluid coming in and out. But something you can do is get it broke loose to the point that you can turn it. And then use a pair of pliers to do the initial bleeding. No big deal. Just takes a second. Because you don't have to crank this thing down to mock Jesus to make it quit leaking. You can literally just tighten. It's closed, it's open, it's closed again. And then once you have everything bled out of it, then you can go back with your ratchet. So we're ready to bleed it now. I don't have a catch pan. I'm gonna use an old oil container. slide this over the end of this. And if you'll pump it 3 times and then hold it, and then holding it, crack it open, let the air out, close it. All right, pump it again 3 times. There we go, 3 times. Three times. I still got air out of it that time. See how it turns now, even though he's let off. Pump it again 3 times. Let's do it one more time. Pump it again. Hold it. All right, pump it again. All right, that should be it. We'll take our ratchet and we will tighten the bleeder screw up the rest of the way and figure out where the rubber cap went that was on the end of it, which is this guy right here. Slip that over the end, and now you can let off. Look at that. And press them. Oh yeah. That's what you want. And then if you let off, see how I can turn them again nice and easy? That's what you're looking for. Let's put the wheel back on. That should be good. Fancy seeing you guys here. This is the end of the video. Thank you to everybody who watched to the end of the video, if you did. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think about anything. So my mom cooked dinner for me, tacos. My sister still has not showed up to see the finished results of the fruit of my labor. And now we're going to get ice cream at this little farm place here. So I'm following them. After we eat ice cream, I'm going home and calling it a night. My passenger seat has a bunch of parts in it for the Subaru Part 2. But that's probably not going to come out until after we get back from Florida. And up here in the visor, I have a letter. We just got a letter. I wonder who it's from. I know who it's from. It's from my buddy Sky over in California. Sky, thank you for the letter. And he got us some stickers. So we'll throw one of those on the Outback when that time comes as well. For right now, in the meantime, I'm going to enjoy ice cream. Thank you all for watching. So we put the wheel and everything back on her car. She is good to go. Done deal. And she'll drive it to work tomorrow and let me know what she thinks. If there's another underlying issue somewhere, I did leave her the Avalanche for another day or so. I've got the trusty old dirty Dodge to drive, so I'm good on cars. I'm car poor. But thank you all for watching. And that's going to conclude this, whatever this was. Catch you guys in the next one. One more clip for those of you who didn't close out the video yet. So up here's the place where we're gonna eat ice cream, and this is their massive farm. They own all of this all around us. Even though all you see is a dirty windshield and a dirty Dodge. Anyway, that's it.